When one of our librarians, Meg Bate, began tracing her family tree, she didn't expect to find a story quite like this. She was able to piece together the remarkable journey of two women who had crossed the globe with nothing but their skills, their courage, and a few cases of millinery. This is the story of two sisters. One was called Mary Robertson, and her younger sister had the unusual name of Stephen Rowan Robertson. Stephen was Meg's great-great-grandmother. The starting point for this research was the family itself. The Robertson family were Glasgow people. Probate and family records show that William and Anne Robertson raised 9 children in that great Scottish city, 8 daughters and 1 son. William was a cabinet maker, and the family was comfortable. But it was the son, John George, whose eyes were always focused on botany, exploration, and adventure. In 1831, John emigrated to Van Diemen's Land, what we know today as Tasmania. Records place him at a grand estate called Formosa on the Lake River near Cressy, where he worked as superintendent. But he missed his family, and it was his sister's letters home, the kind Meg searched for in family correspondence, that set everything in motion. 2 of his sisters answered his call. Mary was 32. Stephen Rowan was 30. Both were trained milliners, skilled craftswomen, accustomed to the precision of fine London fashion houses. They weren't young girls looking for adventure on a whim. They were independent, capable women, making a deliberate choice. The paper trail picks up in London in August 1839. Searching digitised editions of the Morning Herald, Meg found an advertisement dated Thursday, the 15th of August, 1839, offering passage aboard the Lord Godric, described as a fine, fast-sailing ship of 500 tons, bound for Launceston. Tickets were available through agents Godwin and Lee on Bishopsgate Street. The sisters' millinery cases were logged in the ship's cargo manifest. Their future, they hoped, lay ahead. But the sea had other plans. The Lord Godric slipped out of the London docks in early September and headed into the English Channel. Then, on the night of Friday the 13th of September, a brutal autumn storm struck. Here the research turns up something remarkable. Searching the Taunton Courier and Western Advertiser, Meg found a letter written by a fellow passenger and published in the paper. It was a first-hand account of the night's ordeal. The woman described wind and rain that was most awful, with waves rising like mountains around the ship. For hours the passenger had feared the worst. Then, in the pitch blackness off the Isle of Wight, disaster. The Lord Godric collided violently with another vessel, the Sophia, bound for New South Wales. The impact tore away the bowsprit, leaving the ship crippled in the squalling seas. Shipping intelligence columns, those brief but invaluable records, published in papers like the Morning Chronicle, confirmed the collision and the ship's arrival at Portsmouth on Sunday the 15th of September. And that same passenger letter provided the human detail that official records never could. We are safe at Portsmouth and thankful, I trust most reverently thankful, for our merciful deliverance. Mary and Stephen had survived their first taste of the sea, but the Atlantic and Indian Oceans still lay ahead. With the bowsprit repaired, the Lord Godric continued its long voyage south. Shipping arrival records confirm the vessel docked at Launceston on the 19th of January 1840. But there was a cruel twist. Their brother John, the whole reason they'd made this extraordinary journey, had just departed for Portland Bay in Victoria. Movement records and correspondence show he had only just left. They had missed him entirely. It would have been easy to give up, but that wasn't who the Robertson sisters were. And this is where digitised newspapers become invaluable. By searching digitised editions of the Cornwall Chronicle, held today in the National Library of Australia's Trove database, Meg was able to follow the sisters' story in remarkable detail, almost month by month. On Saturday the 28th of March 1840, just weeks after arriving, Miss Robertson placed an advertisement on the front page of the Cornwall Chronicle, announcing herself to the ladies of Launceston as a milliner and dressmaker, late of Madame Girid's of London, now open at 4 St. John Street. It was a bold, confident move, leveraging her London credentials to position herself at the very top of the colonial fashion market. And it worked. By May, another advertisement in the same paper shows she was seeking apprentices and live-in workers. The shop had outgrown its original hands. Then, in late May, a third notice confirmed she had received the latest winter shipments. New bonnet materials, ribbons, feathers, and the newest seasonal patterns. 3 advertisements, 3 data points. Together they tell the story of a business going from opening day to flourishing enterprise in under 3 months, all recoverable because a regional Tasmanian newspaper was digitised and made searchable over a century and a half later. 9 months before their first advertisement, Mary and Stephen Robertson had been clinging to a damaged ship in Portsmouth Harbour, shaken and soaked, not knowing what came next. Now they were shaping the elegance of Launceston. Stephen married William Coney and eventually lived in Victoria, while Mary married George Robertson of Warwick Station, Victoria. Meg's research drew on digitised newspapers through Trove and the British Newspaper Archive, the Scotland's People Archive and the Public Records Office of Victoria. The British Newspaper Archive is a paid subscription, but GSV members can access it free when visiting the library in person. Personal correspondence filled in the gaps. Colonial advertising provided the small but telling details. Each source added another layer, and together they brought 2 women back to life. Tracing a common name like Robertson in newspapers can be difficult. Fortunately, the specialised index, Early Launceston Passengers, 1829 to 1865, available at the GSV, made the search much easier. It's all a reminder of why we search, because sometimes the stories our ancestors left behind are more extraordinary than anything we could have imagined, and because the records, if we know where to look, are waiting to tell.